Hey guys, Ben Nash from Pivot Wealth here, and today I'm pumped to be here with Hermione, who is one of our amazing clients. Just gone through the process a little while back. Keen to chat about how that works, some of the sort of realizations that came about through that process. Hermione, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me.
No, it's yeah, I'm keen to unpack your story because I think this this sort of process, like for excuse me, like for a lot of people when diving in, and I know that you guys were the same. You hadn't really gone through something like this before, so it's a little bit difficult to know, what to expect or how it's all going to fit together. So, yeah, keen to chat a bit more about how you found that. Maybe a good place to start is you could just tell us about what life was like before coming to see us.
Oh gosh, where do you want to start? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, we were like financially, I don't know, like I feel like we'd never really had any proper financial guidance before. Like I didn't really even learn how to budget till I was like mid-20s. Like I don't know why they don't teach you more of that stuff at school. But even though I kind of had a rough idea on how to budget, I suppose I hadn't really thought too long term. Like it was really month to month, and it was really very reactive versus proactive, I would say. And both Dave and I run our own businesses, and juggling all of that, like it was. I feel like we just didn't really have a plan in place. Like we'd sort of fumbled together and bought a house, but yeah, there wasn't really a long term plan as to, I suppose, yeah, like what our financial future looked like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And what was some of the and you mentioned a couple of things there already, but what were some of the key frustrations for you guys at that point in time?
Um, I think probably maybe like a lack of security and certainty. I would say it was sort of, as I said, it was yeah very money comes in. Here's where it goes, and
Mm,
oh crap! Some months we're running out of money. Some months, oh crap, where are we going to get the money to pay that bill from?
mm.
Um, and the big bills come up like your car rego, and you're like, oh gosh, yeah, where are we? What are we sacrificing to kind of pay for that? So I think probably yeah, the longer term budgeting was something that we kind of struggled with versus maybe
Mm,
we're covering off the mortgages and the day-to-day kind of expenses okay. um
mm.
but yeah, not the bigger bills, but also the bigger picture stuff, like where are we gonna find the money to do the bigger things that we want to do. We're getting married next year, we're going we want to try and go on holidays, and what if we want to buy an investment property at some stage. Like there wasn't really a
Mm.
plan as for all of those kind of things that we wanted to do.
Yeah. And what was the catalyst? Like, what was the trigger that prompted you to actually do something about it?
Oh gosh, I can't actually remember. I'm just trying to think back. I think it was that, yeah, I just wanted I wanted a plan. Like I'm a bit of a planner, and I think I
Mm,
wanted to have a plan, but also some guidance. Like I know that I think we were looking for more of like we've got accountants for the business, we've got bookkeepers and stuff, but really wanted someone in our corner that was more of a yeah like support and advisor that knew what they were doing. Like we read some self-help kind of finance books
mm.
previously, and yeah, just someone to kind of also give us the push and the nudge that we needed as well, versus just trying to do it on our own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And I think like you guys, pretty typical sort of situation. The people we work with that, like you say, you had a bit of stuff going on. It's not that there's always levels of complexity and stuff, but it's not like crazy complicated. But just those gaps. And I think for I think those books and educating yourself about money is great, but there is that gap that they can't deliver, which is like, how do we personalize something that is going to deliver the life that you want, that set your family up the way that you want, and give you the financial results that you want as well. Obviously, there was a fair bit of stuff that went into your plan, but what would you say for you guys? What are the top sort of 2 or 3 things that you found most helpful or useful for you?
I was just thinking about this morning before our chat, and look, the working out like the cash flow plan for where all our money needed to go and sit every month to make sure that all of our bills and expenses are covered. Like that was really helpful. But I think the biggest thing that kind of shifted my mindset around it was seeing the future forecast. I'm not sure what the can't remember what the correct terminology is, but where we could see, you know, the what we decide to do now, like what effect that has on us in 25 years time, right? Like, and it
Mm,
feels so far away and grown up to talk about, like, oh gosh, like 25 years time and retiring and all that stuff. But
mm,
to have that forecasting and visibility around, oh, like for us, it was even like, even if we don't do anything else, even if we keep earning the same money and keep, doing things the way that we're doing them now, like we're
mm,
going to be okay. Like, I think that peace of mind alone was really valuable. But then the layering on of, oh, and if we, had, earned more money and put more money into XYZ, for different investment opportunities, I think that kind of it just showed us what was possible versus like
mm.
probably we had some ideas of what would be nice, but we didn't have that visibility on what was possible. So I would say for us that was firstly that peace of mind to go, oh, like we're going to be okay if we just keep on the
Yeah.
same track, but also then, oh, but if we want to leverage that and scale it up, like there's some different options and we can actually see what will work best. We're not kind of trying to guess along the way.
Mm, totally. I think like we obviously are fortunate to have seen inside, taking so many people through this process, but it still blows me away how people make the bigger financial decisions in their life, like buying property or, starting business, starting a family, even without having that insight, because like you say, that those levers they do make a difference, and the peace of mind, the clarity, the confidence that you get to do that, as well as obviously the financial benefits that come with some of those small tweaks, is enormous. And but still, that there's so few people that actually do that. That I think, yeah, like I say, it sort of blows my mind a bit, but super powerful in terms of what it can deliver. Um, Tell me, for like you mentioned, you guys are self-employed, and you do have the ability to earn more money, like you control your destiny in that way.
Mm.
What impacts did that have in terms of your thinking around, yeah, what sort of difference earning and working at different rates might make for you guys and your future from a financial perspective?
Mm. Yeah, it's a good question. I think that like it just showed us that as a business owner, like yourself, anyone who's a business owner will know, like it's a lot of work. There's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of sacrifice. We've got a young family. There's a lot of questioning that you do in your own mind to kind of wonder, like, oh, am I on the right path? Is it worth all this sacrifice? Should I just go back and get a 9 to 5 job? It would be a lot
Mm,
easier than this. So I think that it was, and it still is, it's that realization that, if we, put our foot down over here and put some energy and focus there and get some, better results and extra income, it's not for nothing. Like there's a
mm,
future plan as to um, like why we're doing that and what impact that might have on ourselves and our family and our financial future, looking forward when we're, 50 or 60, will we just be able to, click our fingers and take our whole family and all the kids and the partners on a holiday somewhere, right? Like it's
mm,
the sacrifices of those late nights, to be able to make some changes now could actually have a positive impact on that versus just
Mm.
feeling like you're a bit on the hamster wheel sometimes and just kind of like pedaling and like trying to make it all work. And I suppose it helps us, day to day, probably more focus on the dollar productive side of things. And it's actually had a big impact on, like, I'm a business coach, and I now kind of really focus on that forecasting kind of plan for them in their businesses as well, because it's like it's shifted how I can see it. So, I can help a client see the changes that they make day to day,
Mm.
how that could impact their future, and helping them see a bit more big picture. So it's sort of, I suppose, got that ripple effect through us and our clients as well.
Yeah, awesome. That's great to hear. I think it does for business owners. Like, I know from having taken a bunch of them through that process, that how I normally go about it is to say, well, where are we comfortable that your income won't go below? What do you actually think it's going to be, and what does amazing look like? And you can see the big difference that it makes. And it's, I think, for all people, a big part of doing that is motivation, because being financially successful means you're essentially putting in work today to benefit in the future. And I think when you can, anything you can do to drive that motivation is helpful. But I find that for self-employed people in particular, that when they can see that, then it does go, oh, actually, yeah, if I, and it doesn't work, you got to balance your personal priorities and how it fits in with your life. But that if you push hard for a period of time, you can create some pretty amazing results. And then you go, okay, well, actually, that's worth it. And I can see why, because it's going to deliver, this, and this over time.
Yeah. And like, I mean, on that flip side, actually, I would say it's actually it's helped me to know when to push and when to actually just not burn myself out. I think
Mm,
being able to see that financial forecast and sort of go, oh, like, even if I don't, even if I don't put my foot down, even if I choose to, like, I'm trying to take Fridays out of the business and spend it with my kids, right? Like, so even
mm,
if I do that and I stay on the same path, like, I'm going to be
mm,
okay. I think I've always, I've come from a background with, like a single mum who had to, work her butt off to raise two kids. Like, it's sort of, I've always worried about that financial security piece. So
mm.
I think being able to, as you say, know when to have that balance, because I can see that I'm going to be okay and I have that clarity. I think that's maybe even more powerful than knowing when to put the foot down and earn the extra money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally, because you can see that you're going to get there. And yeah, I think it's, again, like, it's two sides of the coin, because one, it's good to get the motivation, but I think that for people that are like high achievers, that you're always looking forward, and you're looking at the next thing and the next thing, and sometimes don't realize, yeah, the all of the good things that have happened. I think for business owners in particular, it's that there's so much sort of noise out there, and you constantly just think that you need to just keep going. But I think that there's a time for both. Sometimes good to push hard. Sometimes, if you can see that you're going to end up where you want to be by
Mm,
doing less, then happy days as well.
yeah, totally.
Tell me, how are you guys feeling now about your money compared to how you were feeling before going through this process?
Um, I think probably just a bit. We have a lot more clarity around, each month where the money's going. We're not perfect. Like, just looking at things now, I can see we're spending too much on the groceries at the moment. It seems that groceries are just like stupidly expensive at the moment. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. But
Totally.
like, it's interesting because we can see, where we're spending more than, we'd budgeted or planned for in a certain area. And we can then look to make, adjustments around that. So yeah, I think definitely feeling a bit more clarity and more sort of, I suppose, confidence around where we're putting our money each month.
Yeah, I think that it's like a lot of people. I was talking to someone about this the other day, that they get scared of like budgeting, because they think it means that you've got to you got to count every dollar or pinch pennies, but often it's just knowing like what do you want to happen, and then having a right process around your banking to give you a feedback loop to say now what's actually happening, so you get that feedback and then you know what to change. Because I think in the absence of that, and I don't know if you guys were exactly the same, but I think that the curse of the offset account, it's like almost like this conspiracy from the banks where you like everyone puts their money in one big pile and money's coming in and money's going out, and it's almost impossible to know like if you're not saving as much as you intended to, like what is driving that. And I think having a structure and that feedback allows you to really easily identify, like you say, oh, we're spending more on food than what we thought we were going to spend at that time. And that might be okay, but if you do, in the absence of knowing, then you don't know. And I think that's what drives a lot of that confidence as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me, like, when, like for you guys, for a lot of people we work with, before diving into the financial planning process, they don't know, um, how it's going to work or what to expect. What surprised you guys the most about the process?
I think I think it's just going back to that, having someone else kind of lift this curtain and show you what's possible, or that sort of vision for the future around what that pathway will look like financially for you. I suppose you don't know what you don't know. Like I suppose, so you don't know that some things are possible. So I think that, as I said, that moment was a real like click in my head to go like, oh
Mm,
my gosh, like why haven't we realized this, and why haven't we been doing this for a really long time? So, and like I help my clients with budgets and forecasting. I just never thought to apply it myself. So yeah, it
yeah,
was. I think that's probably my biggest, I suppose, surprise or aha moment in it. But yeah, and just that there are financial experts out there who can give you a nudge in the right direction. As I said, it baffles me that they don't teach more of this kind of stuff at school. Imagine how much better everyone's lives would be if I'd learnt this, back when I was,
mm,
17, 18, going out into the world versus, like 36 now. So,
yeah.
imagine where I could be, but can't think like that. I just have to go. I'm glad I've learnt it all now.
That's right. And I do hear that comment a lot, but I wonder if I think about how I was at high school, I don't know if I would have paid that much attention. I'm
No,
sure that you'd
probably
collect some,
not.
but yeah, it's I think your money really is a muscle that's built over time, and I think the sooner you can start, the easier that becomes. And sometimes it's about you've got to learn some things, then you do some stuff, then you then you start excuse me, you start getting some results, and then things get easier and easier over time. What do you think, Hermione? What would be different if you guys tried to do it on your own?
I think, well, we've been trying to do it on our own. Do you know what I mean? Like we've been trying to be good with our money. We've been trying to save. And there's other stuff that always kind of gets in the way and feels more important.
Mm,
And you might we used to, sit down once every now and then and take a look at the budget and try and work out, okay, well, like here's some money we can put into savings and stuff. But we just really didn't have that. Didn't have that plan, and didn't have someone to look at our own unique situation and apply the methodology to that. I think, like as I said, we'd read those in sort of financial books that try and help you do it yourself, and like we'd made some
mm,
progress with that. Sure, it definitely had turned some things around for us, but I think that having someone as an expert in that space, being able to kind of apply that theory to your own unique situation and your own financial situation, makes a difference. So I think that, yeah, we'd probably still be just trying to plod along and figure it out, and probably not making that progress, and probably just still having that big fear and uncertainty of our financial future. I think that would be
Mm.
the big sort
And
of
I
gap
think
there.
that sometimes, because being smart with your money is hard and it takes work, like a lot of difficult things, that sometimes it's without knowing that you've got like a proven approach that works, like, and it's customized for you as well, that sometimes when something goes wrong, it's easy to, you get frustrated and then you lose motivation and you end up giving up because you're like, oh, it's not working. So easy option is to not make it work as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that again, that's sort of that gap with a lot of those books, and I think that they're great, but sometimes if it's not clicking just for you, then it's easy. Yeah, it's easy to sort of get off track. um Tell me, Hermione, like, knowing what you know now, what sort of situations do you think are best suited to using a financial advisor or getting financial advice?
I was going to say, like, it's like when you want to start being a grown up with your money. If that's the right way to say. I think, yeah, I don't know. Like, as you said before, it's like, would this information have sunk in as much if I was younger? Maybe if I was in my 20s, traveling around.
Mm.
Even if someone had, or people did say, like, do X with your money and invest in
Yeah.
this, and there's always something more fun and exciting to look at. So I mean, look, if anyone younger is listening, like, I would say to try and get some of this bedded in earlier. I think it's probably for us, it was, yeah, like, we just want to start being a bit more grown up and future thinking with our money and our finances.
Mm.
But I think that there would be, copious amounts of benefits in implementing some of this much earlier, and knowing that you can still do the things that you want to do. It doesn't mean that you have to become, a monk and living off rice. Like, it actually allows you to have a plan to do the things that you want to do, whether that's, buying a house or traveling or investing or whatever it is that you choose to do. So I think, yeah, like, in a nutshell, really, anyone who wants to make sort of shore up that security and clarity for their financial future. And as a young me would be like, oh no, not another older person telling you that you should sort out your stuff earlier. But at my ripe old age of 36, like, I definitely say, if I could have got onto this 10 years earlier, that's why,
Mm.
put my brother into you guys, because he's younger than me. I'm just like,
Yeah.
get ahead of get ahead, because there's no better time to start than now in getting that head start on your financial future.
That's right. I think that the best time to start, there's always 10 years ago, but the second
Yeah.
best time is now. And the biggest benefit that you get from any investment that you make is in the last 5 years, the last year that you own it. So that means that it's starting 1 year sooner. And it's interesting looking at like a compound interest calculator and what it means. Like, just the difference of starting 1 year earlier is huge. But
Mm.
that fear, or the not having the information to break through the fear and take action, sort of holds a lot of people back. Um,
I think if I
what
had
would you
have
say?
seen that possibility, sorry to interrupt, if I had have
Yeah,
seen, like, I had people saying, oh, like, you should buy an investment, or you should do this, or you should put your money here, like, when I was younger. But I
yeah,
think potentially, I don't know, like, if I had have seen, well, if you do this, here's what it means to you in 5 years. Here's what it means to you in 10 years. Here's what it means to
mm,
you down the track. Potentially, I would have made some different decisions, but I suppose a lot of us are looking for that instant gratification. And it's like, oh, I want to spend my money on, going to Canada for a ski season or whatever, like it
yeah.
was. I'll put that money away, and you could, plan for that over the next couple of years.
Totally. I think that people often, they overestimate how much they can or should be doing in the short term, but underestimate how much can be done in the long term. And I
Mm.
think that when people are investing, it's like that's why they're looking for the next afterpay or like something, and they get frustrated if they're not shooting the lights out with every investment, but they don't realize that just being consistent over time can create some pretty amazing results. But thankfully, there's more and more tools and resources out there that can give you those insights. I know we use like Money Smart, like obviously the end-to-end sort of detailed scenario planning and modeling is super helpful. But for people that are just looking to get some insight as to what it means for investing $10 a day or $50 a week or whatever that number is, and see how it can do, getting easier to use to drive that motivation to get started. What would you say, Hermione, like for someone that was thinking about getting advice, what would be your top tips for them?
Just do it. Yeah, I think just stop putting it off. Like, I know it's sort of probably from a lot of us, I know it was for me. It's like, oh, I'll sort that out soon. Like, I'll get onto
Mm,
that soon. Like, I know I need to be better with my money. I know I need to be putting some money away for my future. I know I need to be sort of setting myself up. But it always sort of, I don't know, it sort of gets pushed out as a less exciting problem to deal with, or an
mm,
issue to kind of look at. Um, it gets probably pushed behind a lot of other things that are exciting shorter term, but don't sort of look out for you in the long run. So I think it's just, yeah, making some time to do it and making it a priority. It's sort of like you're helping out your future self by doing it.
totally. Yeah, I think it's like anything important that it's easy to, in that moment, not go do that gym session, not stick to your nutrition plan, like not do your budget and get on the front foot financially. But yeah, like you say, that the sooner we get started, the easier it is.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think it's looking at your values as well. I think I'd reached a point where it's like, oh well, I'm not just flying by the seat of my pants anymore. What do I value as far as, especially having a family? I suppose having a couple of kids is enough to, yeah, make you want to make sure you've got some financial security ahead of you. But yeah, looking at what is it that you value now and into the future, and making sure that you've got something that supports it like this.
Totally. And so a lot of people like for that are thinking about going down this path, their question is the benefit, like, are the fees worth the investment? In your mind, you guys paid fees to go through this process and to work with us. Like, what makes those fees worth paying for you?
I think again, it's that you can visibly see what difference it's going to make. I think a lot of the time, we can see, well, we invest money and pay for things that we get zero return out of literally every single day. Uh, so it's that visibility that you guys presented to us to say, well, if you invest this, then here's what the return or the result can be for you, and showing
Mm,
that net gain at the end of the day. Like, there's, as I said, there's lots we do and spend our money on that has zero impact on our future. It just leaves us maybe
mm.
with some good memories, but not that sort of tangible result. So I think that for us, yeah, being able to, I think at first we were like, oh wow, this is a lot to invest in ourselves, but by being able to see what was possible from investing in ourselves, and I think that was probably what made the difference for us.
Totally. Yeah. I think a lot of people then, when they think about going down this path, they're often looking like, what's the quick ROI? Like, what am I going to save in tax or make from investing or something like that? But, and it's a challenging thing. Like, I'm sure it's, somewhat similar with what you do, that obviously in running a business, we want to work with as many people as possible. Like, that's good for business. But we, like, again, from being biased, having seen the insights of so many people going through the process, I think what you've just said there, it's not necessarily an immediate financial ROI, although no doubt there are financial benefits, like you said, about understanding the business. But just from a confidence, peace of mind, clarity perspective, in my mind, I think it's worth so much more than the fee to know, um, to have that knowledge and clarity as well.
Oh, totally.
Um,
And from like planning a wedding for next year, like there are people who spend more on a wedding dress for one day that they wear for 6 hours than
Yeah,
the investment. So, as I said, I think, yeah, you can, if you look at it for long term and what that benefit's going to be, like, it makes sense.
totally.
I
My
didn't
last
spend
question.
much on my wedding dress, by the way.
Well, it's yeah, it's easy to spend a lot of money on weddings and all of that stuff. And I think again, like I think to your earlier point, like it's really about priorities. It's not to say for some people that's the best thing for them. That's the right thing for them to do. For other people, that they might have different priorities, and it might be travel or a savings goal or an investment milestone or a debt reduction milestone as well. I think that's what that scenario planning is about, to say, well, okay, well, this is what these things look like. Now, seeing what they look like, what's really important to you. And that's why, like, talk to journos a lot, and they're going, oh, what's the, give me some percentages that everybody should save to be financially successful or something like that. But I don't think that that's the right way to approach making financial decisions, because
Mm.
the right thing for you depends on you and those priorities.
Yeah, that's my philosophy and my business coaching as well. I don't go into anyone with a cookie cutter approach. It's like, well, what's success look like to you? And I think
Mm,
that's something I've worked on a lot over the last, couple of years, is for myself, what does success look like for me, not necessarily what I see someone else doing on Instagram or Facebook or in the
mm.
industry that I'm in. Like, it's like, what does success look like for me, and how do I measure that for myself, not based on how much someone else is saving or what someone else has got in the bank? Because what makes me happy might make someone else miserable. What makes someone else happy might make me miserable. So it's really that kind of customized approach that I think is really beneficial.
Yeah, totally. I think it's business and your money is a lot of sort of similarities about how to approach that. And I think that the the right move at the wrong time is the wrong move. Like, it's about doing the right things at the right time for you, and that's different for every person, because every person is different.
Mm.
Hermione, thank you so much for sharing your story. My last question for you is what is the one piece of advice you would give to your 21-year-old self when it comes to money?
Oh gosh, my first thing that came in is like, you don't need all the things that you think you need. um, but probably just put a little bit aside. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just put a little bit away, because I saved nothing like for such a long time of my life. Spent every cent I earned. So I think it's like, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach. I would have just said, just put a tiny bit away. It doesn't need to be much, just a little bit each day, a week, or month. And I think that would have, it could have made a difference to me 10, 15 years down the track.
Very sensible advice, and I think it's interesting when I ask that question that sometimes people go either way. I've had some guests on here and they say, spend more, spend it all, enjoy yourself, and I think that has a place. But or with my financial planner hat on, I think that doing a little bit of something is good to start building that money muscle and create a few bucks along the way as well.
Yeah.
Hermione, thank you again for sharing your story. Really excited to watch things come together for you guys.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
Cheers, team.